Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
And look at this, guys. Look at this. This could be another episode. I'm just letting you guys know.
What is this about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize that it's dinner time for a little baby idol? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves.
Exploited by the police, we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless weathered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this rusty shop owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Korakuta-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, have you ever seen this?
Yes, that's it. That's the one, the very exact. And his freaking sword just went into the sergeant's boot. The resplendent, holy treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be. As I thought. Young man, enlighten the cryptid old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped?
Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwich between a beef steak and its plate, soaking the seasoned meat juices.
Sandwich? Soaking? Seriously?
Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose.
Somebody concealed my holy treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate. Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing. Conscionable.
Excuse me. Could I say something?
Yes, of course.
Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier on a trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case.
Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation.
La Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there has been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich client. A number of such instances have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being infected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job of a waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work at the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korakuta-san's koban is all too clear.
What? What?
Himself? I think the court would like to hear the defense view on the matter. Tell us, who is the scripted scoundrel that stole the Korakuta?
Okay, that I do not know myself. Let's look for the facts. An angry sergeant of the Empire of Japan who witnessed the incident. The owner who was hunting. I need to examine the freaking facts again because what were these guys' histories on the restaurant? We're gonna say that guy because about the freaking meat he was talking about. Those two were in said conversation. How far back can we look? Well, that far back. We only have 4 tries. She has nothing. She knows nothing about the thing. But what are the odds that thing was underneath it? That could be wrong. Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Yesanosa.
What? How? How dare you? You monster.
Monster?
I stole that koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet?
But it wasn't me. It was Ido. Ido is the mastermind behind all this. You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. Okay, we got one crime down, but that's not the case. Clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop. What the hell? He's done.
Nippon Imperial Army, Sergeant Yesanosa. Prepared to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir.
He's arrested. But that's not the case we're trying to go through. Oh, wait, we're going to go to the testimony, huh?
Do any of you know of the extraordinary low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand the temporary increase in taxation owing to its recently ended conflicts remain in place. I've heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son.
That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant.
That place is heaving with money. Every 3 days I go there and do reconnaissance for the target. And I enjoy chopping my way through a good steak at the time.
It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork, even which is worryingly unbelievable. And your target that day was the old man and his koban.
Yes, sir, he was an easy mark. I slipped a coin into my pocket without any trouble at all.
A veritable phantom thief you are.
I was all set to lead the steak. I was halfway through devouring when it happened.
Bang.
Yeah.
Yes, when the professor was shot,
I knew if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. Ido too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could on the double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date.
but now we know he's the thief. But we have yet to go through the real process. Madam, perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time. Well, Miss Brett? Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency.
Indeed. The theft of Koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder.
Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it?
ooh.
And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
Very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness testimony has been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brent, you are free to leave.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone.
Okay, we found one crime, but the other were guilty, supposedly. Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming.
Oh, no, it's just something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work on what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up.
If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard.
Sorry.
You can think later, but if you don't call it out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it! Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction? What news-driven nonsense is this?
Well, what parting words are you talking about, Rinosuke? I wasn't paying attention. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need some evidence, Counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it? Okay, that's what she was contradicting. Hiding a coin and lump of meat, that sheer nonsense, such a idea astounds me. And for picking up your steak, biting into it without using a knife and fork. Alright, present it.
Take that!
The photographic print of the scene taken immediately after the incident occurred.
What's interesting is the plate of the steak that you see on the victim's table.
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed. Yes, go on.
More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're splitting hairs! Not true. Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural? Unnatural? What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett.
Notice what exactly, Counsel?
Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting it without using a knife and fork. Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself. And then take a good look at the steak. In particular, the edge where it's been eaten.
There's two parts.
As you see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there.
It looks like Miss Brett has realized something.
So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all. But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry and couldn't... Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course. This will be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave everything... I've heard enough. You irritating little spectacle samurai relic. Of course. Dear lady.
What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She realized the catastrophic implication these teeth marks in the steak have for her. Rinosuke, do you know where you're going with this?
Yes, now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in the steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seemed to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. Can we do that thing that, I think it was in Ace Attorney number 2 that did this? Or was it number 6? I don't know which one. I don't know which came first. Was it this game, then 6, or 6, then this? But it was something cool.
But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us?
Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe that the barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase typical Japanese empty threats.
How can you be so sure?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago.
Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet.
Has it been? What?
But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
That's absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can be. I don't believe you have it.
I don't, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve everything remaining mystery about the case.
Are we talking about her handbag?
Very well, I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about the whole affair?
Are we talking about the handbag, or are we talking about Mr. Perfect? Handbag or Mr. Perfect?
And the person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to.
Take that!
Yeah, it's the freaking butler. Not butler, waiter. And there it goes. Now we've come. We're talking about the waiter, right? There's one person who's provided us with various pieces of evidence already. You have plenty of clues from that point right to the right answer. So we are talking about the freaking waiter. Got it. Present. The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosanaga. What? I have it? Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on the steak with teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I enjoyed chopping my way through a good steak, and as well as admitting to stealing Kodakuda-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak. You watch it, cadet. I'm superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put in the coin under, in fact, your own steak? Attention! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask for a foreign gentle lady and she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the steak that detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal. But that makes no sense. The plate was taken from the victim's table. Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her own steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the British entire whatever. Well then, how do you explain the paradox? Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks over. You just said it out, Chief. You did switch the plates. Well, after it happened, You got confused. When I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hit the coin underneath it. But when the waiter announced that he was an undercover policeman, I thought I had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one of the foreign lady's table. You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing. It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. Yes, I did what I had to be done. Unbelievable! However, fear not, prosecutor son.
What now?
I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform, that is all I did, sir.
All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
So, if Sergeant knows to switch the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hosonaga? Yes. Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. Blah, 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 blah. It's Mr. Flawless something. That to preserve evidence, you had taken both. That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot.
Shut up!
What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat, it can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
Objection!
But it's not the meat we're talking about.
No, you're now wriggling your way out of this time, lady.
I beg your pardon?
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no?
You're the ones who decided it was a problem, not to me.
The reason the defense asked to see the plate was confirm something the defendant remembers seeing.
Thinks he remembers?
I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brent. It's on the side of the plate there was a table directly behind Dr. Wilson. There was a clear spattering of blood with the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate that you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show us the evidence to the court. Present the beef steak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Yes, sir. For justice! Sorry for keeping you. Here is the other steak in its plate. Please, feel free to examine it. And there it is. The blood stain. It's clearly visible. Look.
Yes.
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you see on the side of the plate shows that the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim.
It can be.
In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who the person is. That's right, Miss Josiah Brett. It's you. Go crazy now. Go crazy now. Do it!
Outdone by a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No, no, no!
No. It laid an egg. It laid more. Ducklings. Oh my. A black one. Oh, she's gone to heaven. Chickens! Chicks!
Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me.
Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time.
Oui, gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life using cure. As you surmised, I chose the particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning.
So you plan to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison will be found in his water, because Kyurei is unheard of in here in Japan.
Yes, of course, I never intend to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water and it would be all over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table.
That would be me, I suppose.
Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment.
A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on the innocent man.
I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of Curé in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt.
Under your skirt? So I was right. There were two guns.
Inspector, you did a bad job of not thoroughly physically frisking her.
Oui.
And I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Place where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, that's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point, he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion at which point the right waiter appeared.
Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside.
That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor in his chair around.
Because, of course, you need to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun. Any final remarks?
So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency.
Yes?
I wonder, might I speak with you in private later?
I shall call on you.
Thank you. Good day then, everyone.
Wait a minute!
Hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san.
She has to be tried for another hearing about this thing. But we're just letting her go just like that. Just like that. But for now, we are clear. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement.
This can't be. Takatsuchi Aochi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student.
You better start getting used to tough oppositions.
Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? Yes? This insult to Aochi family name will never be forgotten.
You've become conceited with age, Counsel, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. And there it is. A thousand millennia may pass and still the Aoichi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan.
Oh wow, foreshadowing.
This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan Well, I believe go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to a wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. New future laws awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asugi. Yes. After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of a discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, absorb everything of the wider world that you are, blah 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 blah. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. Understand, Your Excellency.
What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden?
Never mind. As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Oh, yes?
In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Give us the non-guilty verdict.
It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Yeah! Let's go! Hey, I knew Sakura Blossom would be bombing down. Let's go! We are safe. But we let her go just like that. She has to have another trial soon.
This court is now adjourned.
She's got to have another trial soon. Because she admits to it. I can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial.
Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations.
Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma.
Ha ha ha. No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place on Yume University Street. Don't forget.
Good afternoon. All your hard work suddenly paid off. Old man? Oh. Old man's daughter. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo's son's innocent.
Ah, our trusty traditional assistant. You worked hard for the result too, you know.
Oh, no, I didn't do any... Thank you so much! If we hadn't had the research report of Miss Brent, I don't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be from my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate.
Your father?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Fast forward, please.
Speaking of Mikotoba...
Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh no, it was I who should be thanking you. After all, your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend.
Good friend? Oh yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson?
Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital.
Oh, you worked together? I've never heard you mention that before.
Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asugi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world in science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot.
I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan. You're not taking the sword of Great Britain, are you?
Of course I am. A Japanese man katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go, and cuts down anything that's in my way. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. Why do I feel like that we have to testify for him, just in case he brought his sword to Great Britain and they frame him? That, or we go against him. Either or. To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Oh yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but... What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit after all. She will be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai. What? Shanghai? Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that. What? Why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Inspector Hosonaga. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate. But what's all this about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who? Who's going to bring her to justice? A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away where our voices can't be heard. But why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now, that we signed the Friendship Treaty. Yes. In normal circumstances, you're right. Then so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can invoke a consular court like that? Oh, can't they? Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our governments making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan. I'm afraid that for a young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her. I don't believe it. The British government Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking the case of foreign student committing murder very seriously. But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil. This new era heralded by the start of a 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. The evening calls for a celebratory drink. But Professor... You're right. This is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Ryunosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. In that case, might I suggest La Carnival? As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. You're a detective, Hosonaga-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about details for now. Why don't you explain about the freaking thing? To La Carnival, will you accompany us, Professor? Of course! La Carnival's food is second to none.
I shall go and attend to the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release.
Oh yes, thank you. So Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Kazuma? Yes, Ryunosuke? I just want to say thanks again. That's all. You really saved my skin today. Ha ha ha! I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? That defense was all your own work. Your skills made a difference though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world. I'm not sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. What? Come on, be serious! If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it. For being a defense lawyer, I mean. No, not me. All that tense verbal combat? I never want to go through that ever again. I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. Sorry? What do you mean? That's the point. Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? No. The ability to believe. To believe? To believe what? A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times. Like you believe in me when I say I didn't do it. I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhero ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in and stick when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you choose to believe in, and even then, well, that's not something that anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person. Believing in your client. Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precision, precious little real experience, but you never stop believing in me. Well, you face seemingly hopeless situations time again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it, through your own efforts, and because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. There's something I want to ask you actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. It sounds serious. What is... you're still here, are you? Oh, Inspector Hosonaga. I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Well, explain the freaking blood. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. In your study to tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Yo, like I said, this is exactly what happened during the first game of Ace Attorney. If this is gonna be the exact same moment, I wouldn't be surprised. So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma. Professor Mikotoba. Susato-san, who acted as my assistant. Inspector Hosonaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still, that's just sad. It was because of the help and support of all of these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. The end? And with that, we'll end the episode right here, ladies and gentlemen. Like, comment, subscribe, Chronicles TV, and I'm signing out.